Have you ever thought you knew what real wealth looked like, only to be, well, completely surprised by the reality?
It's a huge paradox, isn't it? We see all these images of the, showy
The
rich.
fancy cars, designer clothes.
Exactly, the big vacations.
Yeah.
But what our sources are telling us is almost the opposite. The truly wealthy,
Yeah.
often the ones nobody suspects.
Yeah, the ones who live pretty modestly.
Right, but are quietly building up some serious, lasting assets.
It's maybe the biggest disconnect out there, you know? You see someone flashing cash on social media,
Uh-huh, looking like they have it all figured out.
and then, like, a few months later, they're suddenly talking about hard times, maybe struggling.
And then you've got, say, the person still riding an old motorbike, maybe eating street food.
Living in a pretty normal house.
Yeah, and you'd never, ever guess they actually hold titles to land or have quiet shares in companies or a growing portfolio. It really makes you question what we think wealth is.
It absolutely does. So, for you listening, what's our mission here? In this deep dive, we want to unpack 7 really counterintuitive secrets of these hidden rich.
We're going to dig into their specific financial mindset,
Mm.
why they choose to be so quiet about it.
And figure out what really supports their lasting financial power.
Yeah, it's about understanding that fundamental difference,
Yeah.
being outwardly rich versus secretly rich.
Okay, let's paint that picture. Imagine 2 guys walking down a street.
Okay.
Guy number 1, he's in a sharp suit, gets out of a flashy car, talking loudly on his phone about some huge deal, draws all the eyes.
The image of success, right?
Totally. Then there's guy number 2. He's just walking quietly, maybe in old khakis, nodding on his phone. Nobody really notices him.
Okay, seems pretty average.
But here's the twist.
Yeah.
That second guy, he's the actual owner of, 3 big plots of land, silent shares in a successful company, steady rent coming in.
Yeah. And the first guy.
He's actually deep in debt, paying huge interest salaries for a project that's still just an idea on paper.
That perfectly captures it, that difference. The hidden rich aren't hiding because they're scared.
No, it's a choice for freedom.
Exactly. Freedom from judgment, freedom to choose who they deal with, freedom to, try things out without everyone commenting.
And that choice, that strategic freedom, takes us right into their first secret.
Yeah, let's get into it.
Secret number 1. They keep up a simple appearance specifically for freedom of action.
Right. They don't dress the part, don't brag, don't post those fancy check-ins. That simplicity is like their shield.
Gives them financial freedom, control.
And what's really interesting is it's not about avoiding attention necessarily. It's that they don't need the validation that comes with it.
Ah, good point.
Because, let's be honest, attention doesn't usually make you money, does it? Often, it just causes problems.
Like people asking for loans, relatives, neighbors.
Yeah, or complicating relationships, or even making you a target for, crime. Being simple lets them watch, think, invest. Exactly. Experiment without everyone watching or asking questions. Every dollar spent showing off is a dollar not building assets.
It's almost like a kind of strategic camouflage.
It really is. And our research found this amazing example. Mr. Locke, he's 62, drives a Grab motorbike taxi in Saigon.
Okay, so on the surface.
Totally ordinary. Small guy, dark skin, faded Grab shirt, old motorbike. You wouldn't look twice.
But behind the scenes.
He secretly owns 6 rental rooms, 2 plots of land, and a house right on the street, all held quietly in family names, worth nearly 10 billion VND.
That's substantial wealth, hidden in plain sight.
And he keeps driving the motorbike taxi, not for the money he gets that from rent, but he says it's for his health, to stay connected.
So his simple look lets him live peacefully. No jealousy, no hassle.
He put it perfectly.
Yeah.
I drive to stay healthy, not to earn a living. My income comes from the rental cash flow.
Wow. So the takeaway is real wealth isn't what you show.
It's what you don't need to show. That silence gives you room to act and real security.
Which flows right into the second secret, doesn't it?
It does. Secret number 2. They don't show off assets, they just quietly increase them.
So for them, the real measure of an asset is how long you can hold on to it without anyone knowing.
Exactly. They're masters of concealment.
Uh,
Not because they're afraid, necessarily, but because silence is the best protection for wealth over the long haul.
so completely different from the showy types who want everyone to know what they have.
Right. The hidden rich make sure nobody knows the full picture. Their assets might be under a relative's name or a private company.
Definitely not plastered on social media.
Never. They might use fragmented investments, proxy agreements, things like that. It avoids so many risks.
Like lawsuits. disputes.
Yeah, or just plain jealousy, which can lead to problems.
Yeah.
Or even crime. Plus, it keeps them agile. They can move things around, restructure.
Without tipping anyone off.
Exactly. Because public wealth attracts judgment, pressure. People start thinking, oh, they're rich. Why don't they help out so-and-so? Or they
Oh.
get suspicious.
We found another great case study. Miss Ngok, she's 41, runs a little old-fashioned hair salon.
Tucked away in a small alley in Bien Ho.
Yeah, dresses simply, talks softly, looks like any regular working person.
But she's secretly playing the land game.
Quietly owns 5 plots of land, 3 are residential, and their value shot up like 5 times in 6 years.
Incredible growth. And she also invested silently in a small land project through her cousin's company.
And she started small, right? Just savings.
Yeah, modest savings, sacrificed buying nice things to buy land instead, never joined those loud investment groups, never posted anything online, kept it totally private.
So the salon is just...
It's her cover, as she calls it. It provides a small living, but the land is where the real growth happens, quietly. She said, land is what I quietly plant for future harvest.
So the core idea here, hidden assets are lasting assets.
Right. They value control and growth way more than public recognition or having their name on everything.
Okay, which leads nicely into secret number 3.
This one's about cash flow. They prioritize steady cash flow over those big short-term wins.
There's a saying they use, right?
Yeah. A one-time profit is good for a moment. Steady cash flow is for life. They really focus on consistent, stable income streams, not chasing lottery-style payouts.
And why is that so critical for them?
Well, consistent cash flow means real financial independence. It means you can live okay without having to sell off your assets or borrow money when things get tight.
Ah, so it provides a buffer.
A huge buffer. And it also helps keep a stable mindset, protects you from those market traps, or making emotional investment choices that, sink people.
They see assets differently.
Totally. Not as something to cash in quickly, like a one-time feast, more like golden egg-laying hens. You nurture them for ongoing income.
So it builds this continuous flow for the family, for reinvesting.
Exactly. They get that earning a big chunk once might just be luck. But building steady cash flow, that's a real sustainable strategy.
Let's talk about Mr. Vai. He works at the post office in Hue. Stable job, but modest pay.
Right. But he has this other income source. Unexpectedly simple. Back in 2017, he got a bonus. 20 million VND.
Decent amount for him then.
Yeah. Instead of spending it, he bought an old industrial washing machine, put it in a student dorm with a coin slot.
Smart. Low maintenance.
And it started bringing in like 700K to 1 million VND a month, steadily.
Oh, he expanded.
Yep. Now he has 6 washing machines, 2 dryers, across 3 different dorms near universities. Total investment under 80 million VND.
And the income now?
Around 9 million VND a month. Enough for his kids' tuition, daily costs. And he still works his post office job.
Knowing his money's working quietly in the background.
Exactly. He said, I don't need big profits. I just need consistent money coming in every month so I can sleep soundly.
That really hits home. Small, consistent cash flow is like an anchor.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Long-term, steady income beats those quick, flashy profits almost every time.
And that thinking seems to connect to the 4th secret.
It does. This one is about leverage, but maybe not the kind most people think of. Secret 4. Using social leverage, not just bank loans.
Social leverage. Explain that.
Well, when we hear leverage, we usually think debt, right? Borrowing money from a bank. But the hidden rich often leverage other things. People's skills, their time, their reputation, their connections.
Oh, so borrowing resources, not just cash.
Precisely. They know their own strengths, and they strategically find others who have what they lack. Maybe they partner with someone skilled who doesn't have capital.
Or use someone's good name in negotiations.
Exactly. Or use someone else's space for a joint venture. Or maybe use existing platforms like markets or parking lots to keep costs down.
Built on trust, then. A win-win.
Absolutely. It'd have to be. Partners share profits fairly. This kind of social leverage cuts down personal risk and cash outlay way down. And it speeds up growth because you're combining different talents.
It's not borrowing to pay debt. It's building alliances to grow.
You got it.
Yeah.
We found this incredible story, Mr. Bin. He's 44, former construction worker in Da Nang. No capital, no degree.
So starting from scratch.
Pretty much. He noticed how bad the public toilets were in tourist spots. Got inspired by automated ones he saw in Thailand. Had an idea.
But no money for it.
Right. So instead of a bank loan, he used his network. A mechanic friend helped build them. An IT buddy sorted the coin system. A landowner offered space.
Leveraging relationships. What was his own cash investment?
Just 15 million VND. Tiny. The rest was contributions from his partners based on the shared vision.
And now?
He has 12 of these public toilet spots operating. Each makes 2 to 5 million VND a month. So maybe 40 million VND monthly total, plus franchise income.
Wow. And nobody knows he owns it all?
Nope. He works quietly behind the scenes, focuses on good service, sharing the profits fairly. He said something great. I don't have money, but I have a vision. If I have a vision, I will find people and connect them to make it happen.
That's powerful. Lack of money isn't the real barrier if you know how to leverage trust and connections.
Social networks can be stronger than bank loans, for sure.
Okay, on to secret number 5.
This one's really deep. Creating value backstage, letting others take the spotlight.
Meaning they don't need to be famous to make money.
Not at all. In fact, they often intentionally step back from the limelight. They control the key financial stuff from behind the scenes.
So in this age of personal branding, everyone wanting to be an influencer?
They choose the exact opposite. No fame, just a solid system that generates real value, real income.
So they might be silent partners.
Or landlords, unseen investors, the brains behind a franchise, or running the supply chain, that kind of thing.
And why choose that?
Well, it cuts down on social pressure, media attention. It lets them focus purely on efficiency, the data, the risks, the future plans, and it protects their assets.
The core idea is be the one getting paid, not the one who's famous.
That's it in a nutshell. We learned about Mrs. May. She's 53, a retired literature teacher in Long An.
Lives modestly, like you'd expect.
Exactly. But she is the silent shareholder behind 3 really popular bubble tea brands down in the Mekong Delta.
No way! How did that happen?
A former student, Hong, wanted to open a shop but didn't have the capital. Came to Mrs. May for advice. Mrs. May invested 100 million VND.
And proposed a deal.
Yeah, 70-30 split. Huang runs everything. Miss May is the silent financial backer. The business took off. Miss May put in more money.
And now?
3 branches, monthly revenues, over 200 million VND, profit around 40-50 million. Miss May gets her 30% quietly, transferred quarterly.
And nobody knows she's involved?
Nope, she just lives her quiet, retired life, enjoying the steady income, no pressure. Her quote was brilliant. My student runs the show. I'm just the silent shareholder holding the rope while they fly high.
Amazing. So you really don't need to be visible to profit.
Often the real power is controlling things from behind the curtain.
Which feels related to Secret 6.
Definitely. Secret 6, never put all your eggs in one basket, and that includes trust.
Meaning diversification, but maybe more comprehensive.
Exactly. They aren't reckless. They deliberately break down risks into small, manageable pieces. So if one thing fails, it doesn't destroy everything.
They just understand that nothing's guaranteed, right?
Absolutely. A great business today could face a crisis tomorrow. A trusted partner might change or fail. So they don't bet everything on one horse.
They build multiple streams of income.
Across different asset types, too. Land, rentals, small businesses, savings, maybe some gold, various small investments.
Each one is like a safety line.
That's a perfect way to put it. Lose one line, you don't fall. Their whole philosophy is about layered protection. Physical assets, cash, relationships.
Legal structures.
Right. Legal structures and even emotional stability. They don't put 100% faith in any single thing, not even themselves sometimes, because unexpected stuff happens.
Contingency planning is key.
Always. We found Mr. Tuan, he's 36, an electrical engineer in Canton. Makes about 11 million VND a month. Salary, decent, but not huge.
But he feels secure.
Incredibly secure.
Yeah.
Because his money doesn't just sit there. 5 years ago, he saved up his first 30 million VND, and he immediately diversified it.
How so?
Put 10 million into savings, started buying a little gold each month, invested in an old sugarcane juicer for his nephew with a profit share deal, put 5 million into a friend's convenience store quarterly profit share, kept 3 million cash handy.
Wow, spreading it thin but wide.
Yeah, and later he added an old electric motorbike for rental. Each channel brings in a little bit, steadily. But together, it gives him like 5 layers of defense.
A real sense of security.
He stressed that. I could lose one source, but never everything. He also said, I don't play big, I diversify into small parts. Add it up, it's enough so I don't have to bow my head and borrow.
So sustainable wealth isn't about one big score.
No, it's about a network of smaller, steady contributions. Diversification means survival, stability, and yeah, that even applies to how much you trust people or single ventures.
Okay, that brings us to the 7th and final secret. This one feels a bit different.
It is, maybe the most subtle. Secret 7. focusing on control more than formal ownership.
Control versus ownership. How does that work?
In high-level finance, they aren't always the same thing. And the hidden rich almost always choose control. You don't need your name physically on the deed to be the effective owner.
If you control the money and the decision.
You're the real owner. Because formal ownership makes you visible, makes assets vulnerable to lawsuits, public scrutiny, all that stuff we talked about.
Whereas control is quieter.
Much quieter, more stable, more flexible. It lets you manage risk, move things around quickly if needed, and protects your privacy.
So they aren't asking, how much do I own on paper?
No, they're asking, what do I control? That could be cash flows, contracts, supply chains, distribution networks, who's on the team, the key decisions.
Often without their name being officially listed anywhere prominent.
Exactly. They want to control the whole game, not just own a few pieces legally.
We found Mrs. Hong. She runs a small ordinary general store in Bin Din. Looks totally normal.
It's another neighborhood shop.
Yeah.
But secretly.
She controls an entire wholesale distribution network, supplies 12 local agents.
How? Are the contracts in her name?
No, the big import contracts, signed under her cousin's company. But Mrs. Hong places the orders, tells them where to deliver, manages the subagents' family, friends, ex-employees.
So her name's not on the paperwork, but everyone involved knows she's the boss.
Absolutely. She's the decision maker. The network does over 1 billion VND in revenue a month. It's huge.
1 billion VND. Wow. And she gets her share.
Yeah, profit share comes via bank transfers, discreetly.
Yeah.
She just prefers operating quietly, managing the goods and money without any public fuss.
What did she say about it?
She said, I don't need my name on the contract. I just need to be the one who decides who signs it. That says it all, doesn't it? True power is in the actual control, the decision-making.
Not just the name on the title. The hidden rich prefer being the silent conductors.
Okay, so wrapping this all up, we've gone through these 7 secrets: simplicity, hiding assets, cash flow focus, social leverage, working backstage, diversifying everything, prioritizing control.
Yeah, and when you put them all together, it's crystal clear. The hidden rich operate on a completely different wavelength than the showy rich.
They're not chasing the spotlight or glamour.
No, they're building quietly, focusing on stability, and valuing real freedom above any kind of public applause.
So, after hearing all this, here's a thought to consider. It comes straight from our sources. In a world where everyone seems to want to stand out, sometimes the poor strive to appear rich.
While the truly rich strive to appear humble. Which path will you choose?
It really makes you think.
It does. Maybe true wealth isn't just about how much money you pile up. Maybe it's more about how little you feel the need to show.
How securely you build it.
And how freely you can actually live your life, knowing the results, well, they'll eventually speak for themselves.